a few days ago I received a letter from the ITF that I had failed a drug test at the Australian Open. I did fail the test, and I take full responsibility for it.
And that was Maria Sharapova last week taking responsibility for her positive test for meldonium. That's a drug that is new on the banned list that Sharapova says she's been taking for a decade. WTA CEO Steve Simon told the Times of London that he's convinced it's an honest mistake, but says she will be suspended as a result of being in the tennis anti-doping program. Stephen A., what's your reaction?
My reaction, first of all, is I'm a fan of Maria Sharapova. I like her a great deal. I don't like her nearly as much as I love me some Serena Williams, let's be clear. But I do like her. Nevertheless, having said all of that, I don't want to hear any nonsense about a mistake. You admit that you're taking something for 10 years. It wasn't on the banned substance list until the last year. Yet you knew.
Until January 1st.
Until January 1st.
Yeah.
Yet you knew that it was on the list come January 1st. I don't believe for 1 second she did not know.
Well, they were informed by a letter.
They were informed by a letter. You got to letter losses. Stop the nonsense.
No.
Like Olympians have stated, like numerous professional athletes in and out of the sport of tennis, I might add, have stated, you are cognizant of everything that you put in your body because you don't want your reputation tarnished or tainted in any way. Maria Sharapova is the highest paid female athlete in the world, at least it was. That's what they were saying. That's what, according to the reports, she was getting paid more.
With endorsements.
With endorsements. That's what I'm saying. With the that's what I meant. I apologize.
Okay.
Right, with endorsements.
Yeah.
Now, that brings me to the bigger issue.
Because
where I'm going with this is very, very simple. And I couldn't wait to bring this up.
Good.
I don't know how anybody thought
America.
this was going to fly over my head. I just got back from vacation yesterday. We had other stuff to get into. That's why we didn't bring it up yesterday. But there was no way I was going to avoid bringing this up today. First of all, if I remember correctly, hasn't this woman lost to Serena like the last 17 or 18 times? Isn't Serena Williams
17 times,
the last
right.
17 times?
Yep.
Hasn't Serena Williams been the #1 player in the world for the last 3 years plus? Yet she's getting paid low in endorsements than Maria Sharapova. Maria Sharapova has now been dropped by endorsements. That brings me to this conclusion, Skip Bayless. Had this been Serena Williams that tested positive for this banned substance, even if she completely accepted responsibility and acknowledged that she had been taking it for the last 10 years and it wasn't on their banned list all of those years until this past January, if Serena Williams was in the same spot as Maria Sharapova, would she not have been raked through the coals? I would dare say yes. So all I want to say is this. I'm going to monitor this stuff as time goes on over the weeks and months. I'm going to look at what the ITF, International Tennis Federation, ends up doing. They talk about she's been banned. Because she could be banned for as long as 4 years. Or it could be a year. Or it could be just the rest of this year, which amounts to what, 8 months or whatever? It could be that. I don't know. I just know this much. Had it been Serena Williams, it seems to me that the scrutiny would have been far more incendiary than it has been towards Maria Sharapova. I mean, after all, this is Serena Williams. I mean, she made some allegedly made some ill-advised comments to Rolling Stone about a rape case years ago. But outside of that, Serena Williams hasn't been involved in any kind of controversy. She was booed at the French Open one year, okay, because and then people were making comments about a cat suit she wore to the U.S. Open in French Meadows. Serena Williams has been the ultimate champion. But to me, she's scrutinized excessively so. I'm not saying that Maria Sharapova deserves it. I'm saying that if it were Serena, I think that there would be far more vitriol being expressed.
Okay. I want to state up front, I am not a big Sharapova fan.
Okay.
I think she's overrated and overhyped. She has won 5 Grand Slam titles. It's not bad. To Serena's 21 Grand Slam titles.
Serena's on another planet.
Now,
you know that.
I think you would attest that I can be on this show as quick as you can be to suggest racial injustice when it's in play.
Without
okay?
question.
All right.
Without
okay.
question.
Okay.
I've always said that about you.
I can't see it this time. You've lost me on this one, so I'm going to go a couple levels deeper here. Okay, let's talk about the drug in question here. Meldonium, okay? It's still up in the air. It's still sketchy about how effective it is, not as a strength enhancer like anabolic steroids or HGH, but as an endurance enhancer. It's a heart drug, so it's going to increase the blood flow theoretically to your heart. Right. It was approved for over-the-counter sales in Eastern Europe. So the Russians, it was in Latvia is where it was invented. So it's common. You can just walk in the drugstore in Latvia or wherever in Eastern Europe and buy this drug. And so that's why Sharapova says, I've been using it for 10 years, even though the company then came out and said, well, wait a second, we recommend 4 to 6 weeks, end of story, to increase your blood flow. So she's been using it for 10 years. I don't know how effective it's been over those 10 years, but I am with you. And the tennis insiders I know just rolled their eyes over her suggestion. I just didn't know. Yeah, you did. Well, what are you talking about? You didn't know. And the World Anti-Doping Agency has already said that 99 other athletes have already tested positive for meldonium in other sports, and they're lesser known, so nobody knows who they are. She's the best known who has tested positive so far. Let's get back to Serena. If she had tested positive for an anabolic steroid or HGH, I would be, listen, there would be outcry, there would be outrage in a la Barry Bonds in the home run record, because people would be saying, what, you know, you did it artificially. And Serena obviously is a power player, but she's also a great player, a gifted player who has every shot in the book. That's why I've always so much respected her game. It's not just, oh, then you might have a case here where it's 50-50. There's no rivalry here at all. Sharapova has won twice against her.
Not implying that there's a rivalry.
2-18 she is, and has lost the last 17 times. Right. So I'm not sure what... Well... Okay, like, I'm not sure if Serena had tested positive for meldonium, I just think people would just, they'd have the same reaction they would to Sharapova, to me.
Well, first of all, in all seriousness, let me say that I consistently applaud you and come to your defense on issues such as these, because the level of sensitivity that you show is greatly, greatly appreciated. So I'm certainly not, challenging you on that. But Skip, I'm a lean towards something that I always lean towards with you. The meticulous details that you bring to the equation and the way that you dissect things, as fair-minded as you are in deciphering those things, are not what the vast majority of folks from outside the black community do when it comes. They decide they like Serena or don't like Serena for whatever reason. And so the meldonium is an excuse wanted to express all along. So it's not about deciphering the significance of it all or the substance of it all. It's about saying, oh, now I have the excuse to get at somebody that I wanted to get at all along. I brought up the innocuous things relatively, so not the Rolling Stone article where she misspoke, but the innocuous other things that people have used to criticize Serena, to highlight the fact that this is arguably...
The only incident that happened you didn't bring up, she went off on a ball person.
Justin Henin Hardin of lying and fabricating about a controversial service call at the French Open in 2003, and she got booed. At that time, they were booing her.
I just remember she threw a fit at
one of the line judges or something like that.
Maybe it was a line judge.
Right,
it was.
So what I'm saying to you is that those are the things. This is arguably the greatest women's tennis star of all time. And every little thing, the way she dresses, the way she speaks, her body type, the way she carries herself, her quotes in press conference, everything. Every little excuse that anybody can find to get on Serena, they jump on her. So why would I believe for 1 second that if she was involved in something similar to what Maria Sharapova now finds herself involved in, that they would not be all over her? You found issues, not you, but people have found issues that had no substance with it whatsoever as a means. And then, by the way, my last element of proof, tell me what excuse Madison Avenue, the United States of America, or the world over has for Maria Sharapova being more marketable than Serena Williams. You can't shine this woman's shoes. Not only does she have 21 titles to your 5, she has annihilated you the last 17 times
contest.
you have faced head-to-head competition. You are dominant. Think about the sport of basketball and things of this nature. That doesn't apply. LeBron, you know, Kobe Bryant goes over to China. Some argue that he was more popular than Yao Ming. LeBron leaves Cleveland to go to Miami. I'm going to win a title because I'm going to build my brand. Kevin Durant is thinking about building his brand, knows he needs to win. Melo, the same thing. Chris Paul, the same thing. It doesn't apply everywhere. But in this respect, tell me what possible excuse can anyone in this world outside of Russia, because she's Russian, outside of
Russia,
might have
hit on something.
That's right. I mean,
because
what possible?
She might be selling globally more than Serena, because I'm just going on my eye test. Serena has a lot of commercials in the United States, and that's all I can see. She does.
No, I'm not going to refute that. I'm just attacking. I don't know the breakdown either. I don't know the breakdown. I'm just addressing the point that globally, period, they say Maria Sharapova earns more money, marketing-wise, than Serena Williams. How?
Okay.
How?
Well, the obvious how is she's a pretty blonde woman, right? Okay.
All right. I'm just saying.
That's like, that's life.
Listen, well, here's what shouldn't be life. You're supposed to be rewarded and lauded for your greatness. And Maria Sharapova ain't in the ballpark. Anna Kournikova was popular for similar reasons.
She's better than Anna Kournikova.
And we got we get that. All I'm saying is you combine that with some of the vitriol that has been. Listen, Venus Williams has spoken on this. Their father has spoken on this. We all know that they have been ridiculed time and time again.
And they dealt with a lot of it early on.
And they've dealt with a lot of it. And all they have done is Serena is the greatest female tennis player of all time.
Make a case.
Okay? And Maria Sharapova is more marketable? What's there to talk about?
Drop the mic.
Come on now.
We go back to the NBA. LeBron puts on a show at a recent basketball game, but it's not the LeBron you're thinking of. Don't miss that topic next.